So January is almost over. February is creeping up. It's just days away. And I happened to just notice that because of that, we're pretty much closing in on the 2-month wait to the April 2nd Nintendo Direct, which will be the big blowout of everything we want to know about the Switch 2. It's pretty crazy to think about, but it's already been almost 2 weeks since the Switch 2 was revealed. Like 3 to 4 years of waiting and theorizing and speculating and people like me making videos and whatnot on YouTube about the Switch 2. All that time, 3 or 4 years, and now we're 2 weeks beyond the official reveal. Like, the way the time breakdown works from before and after is really crazy because it just doesn't even feel like reality right now. And of course, as I had just mentioned, one of the few details we got at the end of that Switch 2 reveal, now almost 2 weeks ago, was confirmation of a Nintendo Direct on April 2nd, like I said, just over 2 months away from right now. We will be getting what we assume will be an entire blowout of all things Switch 2. We do expect to get the release date and the price at this Nintendo Direct. We expect to learn more about the features of the console and maybe the Joy-Cons, things that we don't yet know about. And more importantly than all of this, the games. What are the games we're going to be playing on day 1, month 2, year 1, all of that stuff. I feel like this Direct is everything we've truly been waiting for 3 to 4 years. But something that I think we've all realized and talked about amongst ourselves is that 2-month wait is going to feel pretty darn long, man. We waited so long just to see the darn Switch 2. Now we have to wait another 2.5 months from the day that the Switch 2 itself was revealed just to even actually get the real concrete details. We're all biding our time until we can start going to websites and going into stores and try to just pre-order the darn thing once that becomes available. When is it actually even going to release? These are the things that we need to know. So when we look at this 2-month wait, it has to make me wonder, is this going to be 2 months of silence from Nintendo? Is it really just, here's the Switch 2, here's a little tease, you've seen the console, you've seen Mario Kart, now we're shutting everything down until April 2nd? Because it is a long time to go in, like I said, what I'm kind of calling silence. Now, one thing we have to talk about is the fact that Donkey Kong Country Returns HD did just release on the Switch the same day they revealed the Switch 2. And look, I've talked about this before, I'll say it again here, that game is fantastic. I still own my Wii copy of Donkey Kong Country Returns. In fact, I was playing it like several months ago. I randomly popped it back in, even before they announced the HD port to the Switch. I had started randomly just kind of playing it to revisit it because I think it's so great. And so it's a good game that has finally come to Switch. It is an old game, it's not a brand new game, so it kind of falls into that weird sort of how excited should we really be about this game because it's an old game. But it is what it is. But it also released the same day as the Switch 2 reveal. A lot of people are certainly playing it, so I think it's going to do okay for itself. But is that really the kind of game that, I don't know, fills a kind of gap, like this 2-month gap between the Switch 2 reveal and the April Direct? I don't really know that it does, but it is a game that Nintendo has released for people to play right now. But of course, we can't forget that a mere 2 weeks before this April 2nd Nintendo Direct, they will also be releasing Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition on March 20th. So we're in this weird sort of situation where between the Switch 2 reveal and the April Direct blowout, they are re-releasing 2 old games. One from the Wii generation, one from the Wii U generation. 2 fantastic games. For me, 2 games that I already still own on the original consoles. But it is what it is. They're releasing 2 old games to fill in some of that time. And Xenoblade Chronicles X, I mean, I've said it before, I'm not a JRPG fan, but I do like the Xenoblade games, and Xenoblade Chronicles X is like tied with the original one as my favorite of the 4. And I like them all, don't get me wrong, they're all fantastic. But Xenoblade Chronicles X is certainly a very special game, and so because, unfortunately, so many people skipped the Wii U, which I think was a mistake, a lot of people didn't get to experience this great game, and even though it's going to be a tad neutered by losing the gamepad dual screen support, it's still going to be great to be able to play it, plus there's new content, so that definitely kind of makes up for that in my opinion. So, they are releasing these 2 old games in this wait. But because Donkey Kong released the same day as the Switch 2 reveal, and because Xenoblade was releasing only 2 weeks before the April Direct, there's still a huge gap in time between even the two games, let alone between the reveal and the Direct, right? So there's still a long time for us to wait and to wonder and to speculate. And, I mean, look, there are still, I don't know what to call them, entities, people, online, websites online that are still trying to get things that they're labeling as leaks and rumors out there, even though we're on the other side of the Switch 2 reveal, and I don't think that a lot of anything claiming to be a leak or a rumor has any sort of real weight like it did before. It's still happening because this is how websites, this is how anonymous people online, this is how certain YouTubers continue their traction by saying, oh, here's a Smash Brothers leak, here's a Joy-Con leak, here's a this, that, and the other leak. And while anything could be true, just speaking from my own perspective, you don't have to agree with this, of course, you know this, but from my own perspective, nothing feels very genuine at this point. It really didn't feel that genuine before the Switch 2 was revealed, let's be honest. Even though some things were accurate, Nate the Hate being the primary one there, nothing happening right now. You know, people are like, oh, a new leak today, a new rumor today, and it's like, really? We just saw the Switch 2, man. Let's just wait till April. I don't think anyone's out there leaking information at this point. So that's kind of the strange situation we find ourselves in now, where people need and want information about the Switch 2 so badly after seeing that first reveal and waiting for the Direct that anything becomes tantalizing and exciting to them. One thing that has been going around that a lot of people seem to believe in, and look, for all I know, makes a lot of sense and could actually be real, is there's this idea that maybe there's going to be a regular Switch 1 Nintendo Direct in February. As much as I would like to say that this sounds like another made-up thing for the sake of traction, I won't lie, it kind of does make sense for Nintendo to have a Nintendo Direct in February, something before the April Switch 2 Direct, because we know in quarter one, which is January, February, March, they usually do have a Nintendo Direct of some kind, even if it's like a mini, which is usually not what we want, but even if it's a mini, or even a game-focused Direct, they usually will do something. And so, thinking about February as a month where Nintendo has nothing planned, they had Donkey Kong and the Switch 2 reveal in January, they've got Xenoblade in March, they've got the Switch 2 Direct in April. February is like the empty month. And look, the Switch 1 is still their console on the market, Xenoblade is still coming, Pokemon AZ or ZA is still coming this year. Also, a small little title you might have heard of called Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is also still coming, let alone any surprise titles we still might not know about that are planned for Switch 1. And so, while I'm not going to sit here and tell you that for sure there's going to be a Direct in February, it does make sense business and calendar-wise when I really think about it. To be totally transparent with you guys, and yes, my bias is coming in here, but I do not care. I think the main reason it's easy for me to believe that there could be a Direct is, honestly, Metroid Prime 4. I wonder if, I mean, this is just based on the myriad ways that Metroid Prime 4 might release. Last gen, next gen, cross gen, Switch 1 first, Switch 2 version later, Switch 1 only, upgrade patch for Switch 2. I mean, I've talked about this so many times. Even my last video is about this. There's like 7 different ways between the Switch 1 version and a Switch 2 version that Metroid Prime 4 could be releasing based on release dates, if they're the same day, if they're separate days, yada, yada, yada. And so the point is, because we know bare minimum Metroid Prime 4 is a Switch 1 title, there's a chance that it's either Switch 1 exclusive or it's Switch 1 first. And if it's one of those two things, there's a chance Metroid Prime 4, even though I just mentioned I'm kind of currently targeting like an August date for that game, it could certainly be earlier. Who's to say that in February, Nintendo doesn't announce Metroid Prime 4 is coming out in June or July or May even? They give just a couple of months, and that's probably all they would need to promote it and make it huge. I'm not predicting that, but it's just possible. And so when I think about that, could there be something to Metroid Prime 4 being a reason for Nintendo to have a Direct in February? Yeah, I think that's one of the main things that would convince them to do that. Let alone the fact, I might make a separate video on this, that if there's a Direct in February, it might actually be a Metroid Prime 4 exclusive Direct. Just an idea. Again, not a prediction. Okay, it's possible to theorize something or to just talk out loud about an idea as an option without actually predicting it. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm not predicting a Direct in February. I'm not predicting a Metroid Prime 4 specific Direct in February. But are those two things possible? Absolutely. And so more than anything, this quick video and discussion was just to talk about this 2 months of silence that's existing between the Switch 1 reveal here at the end of January 2 and the Switch 2 reveal. I said Switch 1 reveal. The Switch 2 reveal, and also here we are at the end of January, as well as the Switch 2 Nintendo Direct in April. We've got a pretty big period of silence. Donkey Kong Country, a great game, but an old game. It'll keep people entertained for another week, probably. Then everyone's going to be moving on. And then we've got a long time to wait just until Xenoblade Chronicles X comes out. Now, that is another old game, but I do think less people played it simply because people didn't buy and support the Wii U, unfortunately. So hopefully there will be strong support and a good conversation around that game when it comes out. But even 2 weeks after that, the Switch 2 Direct will come out, and then everyone's going to forget about Xenoblade Chronicles X all over again. So there's a huge gap, and like I said, it's pretty much the entire month of February and most of March without anything we know of from Nintendo. All of us just waiting and just crying to the heavens, please tell us more about the Switch 2, just waiting for this April Direct. So will Nintendo allow us to bask in our misery and pain waiting for the Switch 2 Direct, or will they give us a nugget of something in that silent period in February or early March? Could it be a Nintendo Direct? Could it be information about Metroid Prime 4 or even the Pokemon game? Yes, I do think it could be. Again, not a prediction, but I think we can all just cross our fingers and hope that Nintendo does have something planned for us. Otherwise, it is just going to be a long, painful wait just to get to Xenoblade, just to get to the Switch 2 Direct in April. So this is what I think. Share your thoughts below, and that's about it.